What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today, BTC USD. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, you guys. It is the 28th day of June. Final days of June are upon us, you guys. We've got today, the rest of today, then the 29th and the 30th, and we're done with June. Halfway through the year. 107.275K is the price. 8 hours, 45 minutes left in this day. If we're looking at this thing here on the daily time frame, we've got somewhat of a consolidation phase at the top here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row now that we've been up in this area. Before we got up to this zone here, lower high relative to this, lower high relative to this, and this kind of downward sloping trend. You hung out for a couple days, but then you went down. Here you hung out for 1 day, you went down. Here, hanging out for 4 days like this, it makes me wonder if we will in fact break out higher. Maybe we don't go lower, Or again, if we were to go lower, still something like this would make sense. Some kind of bear trap, right? Where you go lower, but you don't go to lower lows like you did the last two times, right? Of course, a lower low is possible as well. That is something maybe to consider. And we could see, we do have targets that are down at 96 to 93K, but I'm not anticipating that personally. I'm thinking right now we're closer to breaking above. Oh my God, hold on. We're closer to breaking above 120K than we are breaking below 100K, right? And we're actually closer to 100K than 120. So inevitably, we will see new all-time highs in a very, very short amount of time. But I just think we have a little bit lower to go from here at first. And let's see if the 1 hour time frame, 15-minute time frame, if that stuff agrees with it. So 15-minute time frame here. Lower highs, lower lows, momentary downtrend. You've moved down a little bit as a result, but not really too much. I want to look at this on Coinbase, something that has a little bit more volume. Let's look at that. Yeah, not so the index. It said that there's a large spike here, but I don't know where they derive their volume from. They need to fix it, man. It's like just derive it from the 3 top exchanges by volume, and then just average it out there. It's really probably not that sophisticated. It doesn't have to be. I don't know what they're doing, but it seems like it's overthinking. Low to high. Should I take this high? Low to high? I guess that's the high. Low to high. Back above the 236. Yeah, you went from the 886 area all the way through. This is actually very common behavior. Whenever you rip down through the golden ratio on the first attempt, I don't care what the time frame is, you tend to go right back to the 382. Found support of the golden ratio, went all the way to the 236. You should have kept running here. We actually should have kept running, in all fairness. I wasn't expecting this move up over the past like 12 hours, but we did it. But coming back down below the 236 and especially the 382 like this, that's not so productive. I would anticipate, especially with the 15-minute RSI looking the way it does, I would anticipate that we go lower from here. Looking at the price, let's just see. Slightly higher high here, I guess. Yeah, you do have higher highs with your RSI too, so that's not bad. Lower lows in the RSI, lower lows in the price, relatively speaking. I'm thinking we have at least one more drive down. Maybe we don't go lower than these lows here. Maybe we do hold something that's just below $107,000 as support, but I would at least think that we get back below 107K before running higher. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. 1 hour time frame, the 1 hour RSI does look a little bit more bullishly charged. Not gonna lie. And again, we were talking about this last night actually, where typically whenever you have a uptrend, right, you don't just go from an uptrend to a downtrend. Typically, what you'll do is you'll go from an uptrend to a sideways trend, and then you'll form your downtrend, right? And it looks like we kind of formed a miniature downtrend here in the 1 hour time frame, right? You had lower lows, lower highs, but then we formed a sideways trend, which is not so typical. Normally you get in the overbought zone, in the oversold zone before you start that, but now it's almost as if we're starting an uptrend here in the 1 hour. Maybe. I mean, maybe I'm just seeing what I want to see, but the 1 hour time frame does look kind of bullish at the moment, if I'm being honest. It's neutral. Of course it's neutral. The price has been neutral, but let's just see. Let's get an overall look at this from a high to a low real quick. High to low here. Golden ratio. This is the area that you'd expect to find support after rejecting the golden ratio right here. I don't know, man. As long as we're above 107,000, I guess it is possible that we might be moving out of this range actually bullishly and seeing new all-time highs pretty soon. That'd be pretty cool. But if we do go below 107,000, there's still a chance where we could go lower than this low here and see. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I have the wrong fib on there. Okay. My bad. Right there. Okay, there we go. All right, down to the 382. So yeah, as long as we're below 107.4K, we're still going lower. As long as we're above 107.15K, we still have a chance of going higher. So we're in this indecision phase, this deciding moment right now. I think we will go down, but the 1 hour looks rather promising to me, at least right now. If we can continue to be productive, if the coming hours, by the end of the day, we are back up at like 107.5, which that's not that far away. I'm not asking the world of Bitcoin here. There'd be a good chance that we are breaking out of this range to the upside today or tomorrow, over the weekend. That'd be nice. 4 hour time frame. And just because I say breaking out doesn't mean we'll be at new all-time highs by the end of tomorrow. Maybe. You never know. We're not that far away from all-time highs, but I'm not really expecting that right now. I'm just saying, talking about possibilities. The 4 hour RSI to me does look a little bit, I mean, it actually looks pretty bullish in this area, but it looks like it wants to go down. Rejecting the 60 here would make me think we go lower. So 15-minute, 4 hour bearish. The 1 hour is neutral but bullish leaning. I'm going to stick with the bearish side for now, right? We've given the prospects what you need to see if you are looking to go higher. So we've got that, right? But if we are going lower, and I think that we are, the area that we're likely going to go down to at least, is it 105.7? What is it? 105? Yeah, 105.7K. At least there. Maybe 105.8. It doesn't have to be like specific right there, right? We're dealing with very large numbers, so $100 give or take is nothing, right? 236 at least there to find support. We've been having a good relationship of support at the 236 lately with Bitcoin since April 7th. This area was also a prior area of resistance here and here and here and going back here and even support back here. Oh, wait, no, it's a little bit higher for this support back here. But still somewhat of a relative area of significance. We might find support there. If not, 104.3K seems to be a good area to find support. And the 382 typically, whenever you move down there, you do wick a little bit below there and then close above it. So if we go a little bit below 104K, it's not a big deal. But that's kind of the expectation. That's been the expectation for a couple days now. I thought that we'd be done with this and moving up higher to end the month, but we've just kind of lagged right here and been moving slow. I think we will get this, and then July should be good. Maybe we even dump a little bit into July, just a little bit, and then start to move up, but we'll see. I actually think it's best to start a month. If you're expecting a month to be green, I like to see it start off red, because, I mean, if we look at this here on a monthly time frame, this green month here, there was a wick to the downside, right? This green month here. Last green month, we had a little wick to the downside. That green month, we had a wick to the downside, right? In fact, most of our green months, we have wicks to the downside. So that means that at the beginning of the month, we actually went down a little bit, right? It's very rare to have no wick or very small wicks and then move up like that. So it makes me more confident. Although, to be completely fair, these ones, none of those really had wicks to the downside at all. We just moved up. It just makes me more confident in the upside if we start the month off to the downside. Maybe that's like a superstition that might not be backed by anything solid. It's just kind of a theory of logic there. I mean, most of these have a little wick to the downside, right? It's not so common to get it to where it's like basically non-existent, but it does happen. And it actually has happened a good bit this cycle in all fairness, but I wouldn't be surprised if we were moving down into July, is all I'm saying, like the first couple of days. Nothing crazy. And if we look at the daily RSI, we still are in a downtrend in the RSI, right? We've got lower lows here, lower highs here. Typically, downtrends don't end until you're in the oversold zone, and ideally with some bullish divergence, but it doesn't have to be ideal. If we were to do something like that, if we were to get lower, that would imply then that we're going below this low here, and that we'd probably find support around $96,000 to $94,000, because this low here, April 7th to this high, the all-time high, the 382 is right there at 95.8K. Again, it's very common to wick just below the 382, just below there, and then close above that. If we were to wick just below 95.8K, maybe we go down to 94K, 93.6K, whatever, something down there in this range would likely hold us to support if Bitcoin does make that move. And I'm not saying it does. I'm not expecting that happens. I actually think that we'll hold the 236 as support or higher. We've got those levels at like 104K, 105K, right? And I think that we will hold those areas as support. We'll see. But if it were to go down to that 382, that's about a 10% drop, 11% drop. And if that happens, that would then imply that the average altcoin will drop about 20% probably. So just be aware of that, right? Bitcoin drops 10%, 11%, the average altcoin drops 20%, 25%, something like that, right? So be aware of that. That's nothing to be concerned with. That doesn't mean that the market is over, or that things are dying. It just means that we're finding a little turbulence, a little bear trap, a little extended bear trap before we actually break out and see new all-time highs. And the lower we go, the more affordable things are, the more you can load up before the big moves happen. So as long as you're just holding and stacking, you should be fine. And I think we all will be fine in a matter of no time at all. Looking at this, though, on the daily RSI, it makes me think that we probably won't go to a lower low, right? We've got higher lows overall coming back through here. We're kind of consolidating in this area. The longer we consolidate, the better it looks, because rejecting down like this, doing something different where you're not just rejecting down immediately, that could provide that we are breaking out of this downtrend and ready to get into the overbought zone. And getting overbought without getting oversold on the RSI is actually a very bullish sign in itself. So I think that right now the daily RSI is in a bullish posturing. It's just if we happen to go lower than this, we likely would go lower than that low. So just be prepared for that, right? I'm not calling for that. I'm not going to pretend I was right if we go down there. I'm just prepared for it if it happens. That way we're not caught off guard. If you're not prepared for it, if you just think, oh, there's no chance it could go down, it's only going up. If you're not talking or at least considering the possibilities of the downside, then whenever that happens, you're setting yourself up to be emotionally wrecked, man. And when you're emotionally wrecked, you can really make some bad decisions. But I got nothing else for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Ultimately, Bitcoin, in a matter of no time at all, over the coming weeks, should be at prices that are at like 120 to 140K, somewhere in that zone. And I would expect as we get into the end of the month of July, we're nearing that 160, 190K zone. Probably in August is when we'll see that. But we'll be moving higher throughout this next month and throughout the coming months afterwards. So I got nothing else. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.